For the longest time, I have always traveled cheap. But today, I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm splurging up to €250 for a night inside Mont Saint-Michel. Not just visiting, but actually sleeping in this magical island village. I will also share tips on Mont Saint-Michel to do it cheaply and by public transport. It will be my once-in-a-lifetime dream coming true. I've just wrapped up a quick Paris tour and now I'm at Montparnasse Tower, the tallest building in Paris after the Eiffel Tower. At its base is Gare Montparnasse, one of the major train stations in the city. From here, trains travel west to Brittany, the Loire Valley, and even parts of Normandy, including Mont Saint-Michel. No matter which train route you take to Mont Saint-Michel from Paris, you will always pass through this station. Visiting Mont Saint-Michel has been on my bucket list for more than 10 years, and finally, it's time to tick it off, step by step. There is no direct train to Mont Saint-Michel. The closest train station, Pontorson, followed by a short shuttle bus ride. Here's the twist. Direct train from Paris to Pontorson do not run daily, and routes vary. Depending on the schedule, train goes north via Granville or south via Rennes. Today, I'm taking the north route via Granville, the best departure time for me. Either way, the full journey takes around 4.5 to 5 hours. Paris to Mont Saint-Michel is about 352 kilometers. By the end of this leg, I would have traveled 998 kilometers in just 2 days on my U-Rail adventure. And yes, there is a daily direct bus from Paris. But since my U-Rail pass covers this train, I'm riding this rail all the way. And what a ride! Rolling green pasture, fields of yellow flowers, and cluster of sleeping villages. It's the classic French countryside repeating itself over and over again. My train trip consists of 2 legs. From Paris to Granville, then a less than 10 minutes layover before connecting to the next train from Granville to Pontorson. There is a 30 minutes delay during the journey where the train stops in the middle of nowhere. I thought I would miss the next train for sure. Thank goodness, the train picked up speed and I see my next train waiting patiently at Granville at the next platform. Phew, what a relief. I quickly board the train, sit on the reserved seat, and within 5 minutes, the train sets off. This is Normandy, peaceful and poetic. Rolling fields, villages, farmhouse through the window. The train ride from Granville to Pontorson, which is in the region of Normandy of France, offers a serene and picturesque slice of rural life. I arrived at Pontorson Mont Saint-Michel station at about 6 p.m. Once out of station, I felt lost. The transport information I found online didn't make much sense, and I have no idea where to go next. Frantically, I searched around the station for any signs of a bus stop. And thankfully, a kind stranger pointed to a car park outside. That's where the shuttle departs. I was getting anxious. Mont Saint-Michel is still 10 kilometers away from here. And I'm running late for a hotel check-in. And that's not just any hotel booking. I spent a huge amount to stay inside Mont Saint-Michel. Something I've dreamed of for years. Every minute lost now feels like money wasted. Finally, the bus rolled out, passing through the quaint town of Pontorson, winding its way towards the coast. I kept switching between the bus window and Google Map, and then, about 15 minutes later, there it is. The image I've seen 1,000 times on screen, now rising before me in real life. I am overwhelmed. I tried to stay calm in front of the camera. I had even rehearsed what I would say, but all I could mutter was, "Oh my God." After nearly 5 hours on the train and bus from Paris, I finally arrived. Standing on the land bridge that links Mont Saint-Michel to the mainland. Okay, sure. No cars are allowed here except shuttle bus and local traffic. As I look across the bay, the tide was out, revealing a vast expanse of sand where the Quinong River meets the sea. Without this modern causeway, Mont Saint-Michel would still be a true island, just like it was for centuries. With the day tripper gone and the sun setting around 8:30 p.m., I rushed towards the old medieval town to check into my dream stay, a hotel inside the island. That's where things took a turn. The hotel looked closed. I knocked, waited, nothing. Went around the building, tapped on the windows, and finally saw someone in what looked like a kitchen. Turns out the reception was in another building. I was escorted there only to hear the last thing I expected.
Sorry?
Hey, hi.
Hi.
I have a reservation.
The hotel was closed for business today. And somehow I've managed to book just before they shut everything down. So, no room, no stay for me. And everything on the island is fully booked. They offer me a room outside the island, across the bridge. I didn't have much choice. Shuttle buses still ran, free of charge, between the island and the mainland. So I took it and tried to make peace with this unexpected twist. At the new hotel, I asked for a room with a view of Mont Saint-Michel.
Reservation over there.
Oh yeah, yes. My
Yeah.
colleague told me.
But it wasn't what I hoped.
But that doesn't.
I explained the situation.
No. No, I can't.
To their credit, they gave me a refund. I ended up making a new reservation in a much cheaper room.
I have a reservation?
Yes?
Yeah.
No island view, just a lawn. But honestly, I'm fine with that. I would rather save the money. No time to sulk. The sunset was happening now, and the skies were clear. From my hotel, I rushed out to the best lookout point. It was packed with Korean tourists, probably made popular by a travel show or influencer. Say what you want, but the Koreans knows the best photo spots. Since I do not feel like asking strangers to take pictures for me, I passed on that and wandered around for my own angle, which led me back to the land bridge. The sunset was almost over, so I headed back into Mont Saint-Michel city, this time under the stars. It is quiet, peaceful. Too dark for me to film, but perfect for wandering. I stepped inside the small, charming parish church of Saint-Pierre. Candlelight flicker in silence. That's a perfect end to a chaotic day. I am back out in the cold wind from the Atlantic. No way I'm going to walk back along the 2.4 kilometer land bridge. So I caught the free shuttle again. Today does not ended up the way I planned for, but still, it's a night I will never forget. Good night.
Early the next morning.
Good morning from Mont Saint-Michel. Waking up so early because I want to see the sunrise. The good thing here now is that the sun rises at 7:20 over here. So it's not actually early. The time now is probably 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm back at the Mont Saint-Michel sunrise spot, and this time round, it is completely empty. But here's the thing, the sun rises at an awkward angle behind the mount. So, in my opinion, sunset is still the better time for photography. At this point, a quick tip about the accommodation choices here. Before arriving Mont Saint-Michel, I was almost tempted to stay several kilometers away. In towns like Pontorson, sure, it's about €30 cheaper than staying near the island. But I'm staying in La Caserne. The zone right between the parking area and the bridge to the Mont Saint-Michel. Hotels here are more convenient, close to restaurant and the free shuttle. It is not on the island, but way better than staying far out. Trust me, the convenience is absolutely worth the small price difference. Oh, one last money-saving tip. If your hotel offers a buffet breakfast, grab it. It is definitely the best bang for your buck before heading out to explore. Good morning, I've just done my checkout, so now heading to Mont Saint-Michel. I am back on the shuttle, one of the first few heading into Mont Saint-Michel this morning. But I'm not alone. The bus is packed with early birds, all racing to be the first inside. As the tide rose in, Mont Saint-Michel transformed, no longer just a rocky hill like what I see yesterday, but a true blue island rising from the sea. It's magical. Just past the gates, you will spot the famous La Mer Poulade, world famous for its fluffy omelettes. Tempting, but super duper expensive. I passed through the medieval gates, stepping into a scene that feels straight from the Harry Potter story. The morning misty air, cobblestone alleys, watchtowers, and silence. There are a few museums on the way up, but I skipped them. All this museum entrance fee add up fast. And besides, I want to beat the crowd
to the top of the Mont Saint-Michel. The souvenir shops along the way is still closed, a blessing in disguise for my wallet. Here is another travel tip to Mont Saint-Michel. If you hate crowds like me, skip the day trip from Paris. I suggest staying overnight like I did and explore Mont Saint-Michel early in the morning. You will have the whole village almost to yourself by doing that. As I climb higher, the path becomes stairs, and then more stairs. My destination? The Abbey. This is the crown of Mont Saint-Michel, a soaring symbol of faith and architecture. Entrance to the Abbey costs €13 and is worth every cent. But get here early, when the tour bus haven't arrived yet. At the gate, take note, the left lane is for groups, the middle for pre-booked tickets on internet, and the right for people who has got no ticket yet. Guess where I went?
Thank you. Merci.
Inside the Abbey, I climbed the grand staircase, breathless but excited. At the top of the staircase is a breathtaking reward. The place that I'm at offers a panoramic view of the bay, the rooftop, and the Abbey Church, reaching 80 meters high. Above it all stands St. Michael the Archangel, who legend says appeared in the bishop's dream and demanded a sanctuary to be built on this very rock. Before entering the church, I stepped onto the West Terrace, overlooking 500 square kilometers of tidal bay opening into the English Channel. It's simply unforgettable. Then, I entered the Abbey Church. Romanesque pillars, Gothic arches, stained glass light, a sacred space built between the 11th and 16th century. It is also a place designed to lift the soul heavenwards. To my surprise, my ticket includes a free guided tour, and I'm glad it does. Mont Saint-Michel is a maze of beauty, but without context, you will miss so much. In the cloister, I find peace. A garden floating between the sky and the sea. It's one of the most beautiful cloisters I ever seen. A living, breathing hanging garden. Next, I step into the refectory, where monks once ate in silence as the scripture were read aloud. Below the refectory is the guest hall, a Gothic chamber that once welcomed kings and nobles. In the crypt, massive pillars hold up to the choir above, whereas engineering, that's as spiritual as in structural. Then, turn a corner into the wheels room. home to a giant 19th century pulley used to hoist food up when this abbey served as a prison.
And so with very tiny pillars.
Through the Monk's Promenade, I returned to the Romanesque simplicity. Before arriving at the Scriptorium. The Scriptorium used to be the sacred study room where monks once copied ancient manuscripts. And finally, the exit is through the gift shop. Merchants in the temple. Well, it is Mont Saint-Michel after all. I always recommend visiting the Ramparts after you have seen the Abbey. Trust me, it's the perfect grand finale. Up here, you don't just see history, but you feel it. These ancient walls once shield monks and pilgrims from invading forces and powerful tides. Today, they offer front row views of one of the most magical landscapes in France. Since the 100 Years' War, Mont Saint-Michel Ramparts have earned itself a reputation as an impregnable fortress. Seven towers are connected by a walkway. And from the North Tower, you will witness one of the best views of the Abbey rising proudly above the island. As I walk these walls, it feels like stepping into a stronghold of 1,000 storms. These salt-stained stones have stood against sieges and tide alike. From here, the island reveals itself, layered, fortified, alive with memory. On one side, the rooftops of a medieval village. On the other, endless sand, shifting seas. It's almost like walking on the edge of the world. It makes sense why this place is considered one of Europe's top 3 sacred sites, alongside with Jerusalem and the Vatican. Pilgrims have walked here for over 1,000 years, guided by faith and the call of Archangel Michael. Some still follows the ancient route across the bay at low tide. It is a unique journey shaped by water, sky, and sand. But take precaution. The bay hides danger, where there's quicksand and fast rising tides. So the advice, always go with a guide. Up here on the ramparts, with the wind in the face and the waves in the distance, you understand Mont Saint-Michel isn't just a monument. It's a living, breathing marvel. It is no wonder the French call it La Merveille. It's time to say goodbye to Mont Saint-Michel. As I'm walking away, I'm not leaving a destination. I'm leaving a piece of my heart behind. If you are planning a trip here, I highly recommend staying at least one night. Why? Because the true magic of Mont Saint-Michel reveals itself after the day trippers leave. At sunset, the crowds disappear. The cobblestone streets fall silent. And the island transforms into a mystical medieval village just for you. And thrice a day, the tide rolls in, turning the mount into an island again. Stay overnight, you will witness that surreal moment. Something most never gets to see. A day trip shows you the beauty, but staying the night, that shows you its soul. Gare, Pontorson. Heading to my next destination. Thank you for watching till the end. Please like, comment and subscribe. It really helps small creators like me keeping going. And I see you in the next journey.